Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to a fantastic, another edition of the New Vegas Sand Trap right here on Facebook Live. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, welcoming all of you in and telling you we've got another terrific show with another awesome guest. Don't forget that the New Vegas Sand Trap is being brought to you by Allergy Care Centers, where it's just a simple procedure, 1, 2, 3, to start brushing your teeth and getting rid of your allergies. Also brought to you by the great people over at Swing U, probably the best golf app in the business. Download them for free, swingu.com, and it's just absolutely amazing. We're coming to you again from the fantastic Rigel Studios right here in the entertainment capital of the world, and that would be Las Vegas, Nevada, of course. We're just steps away from the world famous Las Vegas Strip. Weather's getting great right now in town. It's it's golf here all year round, but springtime getting into summer, it is absolutely sensational. We'd always love to hear from you. You can always email us at golfgurulv@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Always love hearing from you. So let's get right to it. We've got a lot to cover with our guest, and let me tell you a little bit about Amy Fox before we bring her on. Let's bring her on. Why not? I mean, she's there. Let me go over her a little bit of a bio, and we'll talk about Amy. Amy, welcome to the New Vegas Sand Trap right here on Facebook Live. Appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Thanks, Dennis. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you. Let me tell everybody about Amy is the Director of Instruction for the City of Arlington, Texas. I have been there. They got a beautiful ballpark there. It's a great city. Amy was the LPGA National Teacher of the Year, I believe, in 1999. Top 50 instructor by Golf for Women magazine for 5 years. Top 50 instructor in the USA by Golf Digest. Top instructor by Golf Magazine, 2000, 2007. LPGA Central Section Teacher of the Year for 1, 2, 3 years. And Amy teaches a number of tour players on the LPGA, various mini tours, and also the Canadian Tour. So, Amy, it sounds like you're quite busy.
I am, Dennis. It's been 33 years of teaching golf, and I've thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it.
That's great. Let me start off and ask you this, Amy. Who and when did you get introduced to the game of golf, and what was it about that experience that kept your interest in pursuing the game of golf?
My uncle built a golf course in Nacogdoches, Texas, and I used to spend my summers with my cousin there, and that's how I got introduced to golf. Neither one of my parents ever played golf, so that was kind of unusual, but I just totally fell in love with the game. I mean, my dad, he played a little bit. I mean, he wasn't any good, and he was left-handed, and so those are the first clubs I ever picked up. I just stood out there in the yard and, it'd hit balls left-handed, and I kept begging for a set of golf clubs, and I kept saying, I'm right-handed, Dad. And so finally they broke down and bought me a set of golf clubs, and, I just fell in love with it from day one.
That's fantastic. The old saying, Amy, and since you related the story about starting off left-handed, do you believe that golf is a left-handed game for right-handed players, obviously? Because that's the old saying, and a lot of people believe that, Amy.
No, I believe, if you're right-handed, I typically, ask a person if they played baseball or something, or swung a club or swung a bat, which way they bat. But if you're right-handed, I believe you should use your right side of your body because it's your stronger side.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Now in teaching, I will tell you, I try left, right, it just depends on how the person can get the job done. But, typically I'm a big, use your right side of your body at the right time.
I do know some people and have played with some people, Amy, that can play both left-handed and right-handed. Do you play left-handed sometimes?
I have played a couple of times, but I can't hit it very far, but I can hit it. I've taken on a kid before when he was being cocky, and I said, he was left-handed, and I would grab his club and say, "Look, I can hit that green left-handed," and he would go, "Whoa!" so I can hit it, and I would say any instructor who's had time on their hands, starting out teaching, probably stood out there and hit balls left-handed,
Yeah.
because then you can kind of relate to the beginner, because you're completely starting over again if you
Yeah,
haven't
totally.
ever played.
Comes in handy when you're, when you're in a hazard or behind a tree or something like that. I would be able to be able to do that. All right, let me continue and ask you. You're the director of instruction, as I mentioned, for the city of Arlington. First, how did that come about? And secondly, do they have any input into your fee structure at all?
The way it happened was, I used to teach at a facility on the west side of Fort Worth, called Leonard Golf Links, and the lady who owns it, her dad is the one that built Colonial in Shady Oaks, and her dad's the one that basically kind of backed Hogan. So she lived like 2 doors down from Hogan. Anyway, she sold that facility, and I was looking for another place to go teach, and just so happened that the city was looking for an instructor. And as I stayed there, as I was there for a couple of years, then they wanted to start an instruction program, a junior program. And so I just kind of became the director of all that, made up the curriculum for the program.
Now, you teach at a very nice facility. Are you an employee of the city or are you an employee of the golf facility?
I'm an independent contractor.
Okay. All
And
right.
I pay a percentage, to the city of Arlington,
Okay.
per lesson. And then I was
Okay.
getting paid, from the clinic. So.
Okay. Because I don't know too many, and it's not unheard of course, but I don't know too many people that have been the director of instruction for a particular municipality. But I think it's a great gig if you can get it. Amy, in the professional ranks, has the game in men's golf changed more than the professional game for women? And if so, what areas do you think it has shown the greatest change? For example, equipment, that type of thing.
Well, can you say that one more time? Because I think I misunderstood you.
Well, a lot of people think there's a disparity in the game that the men professionals play as opposed to the women professionals. Has the men's game grown more at a faster rate, say, for instance, in equipment and ball technology and whatever, than the women's side of the game? Are they a little bit behind the curve?
Well, I think they're behind the curve mainly because of the money. I was looking at the PGA this morning, the money list, and what the top 20 were a couple of $1 million.
Yeah.
And you look at the top LPGA player right now, and I think Nelly was like at 300 and something thousand for the year. So that's been a big, huge issue. The women have had to fight against the web.com tour, the senior tour, the PGA tour. So, that kind of, I think, has hurt women's golf. But as far as technology, I don't think there's any, I think most of your manufacturers now are paying a little bit more attention. It have been for probably the last 10 years about women, and the equipment's gotten a lot better.
Oh, it's gotten tremendously. Which I want to ask you this, as long as you brought that up, do you think that the average weekend recreational player is taking full advantage of the technology, both in the clubs and the ball?
Oh yeah, yes. An amateur will always try to buy a game. So, so I see people with new drivers, new everything almost every other week, and sometimes technology, I think, is geared more towards a better player than it actually is towards the amateur. Tiger Woods, gets benefit out of the latest and greatest of whatever golf
Sure.
ball, and sometimes the amateur, it's only maybe a couple of yards.
At
in technology.
what point in time do you advise your students, and I know that you teach professionals, you teach men, you teach women, and probably juniors, but at what point in time, Amy, do you advise your students about thinking about the possibility of getting fitted for a set of clubs? And number two, do you think it's worthwhile to spend the money to get fitted for a guy who only plays on a Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, I think you should. What I tell beginners, first of all, I tell them to go out and buy them a decent set of golf clubs. Don't go out and buy, the top brand. Buy something, a box set or something that's, not way on the cheap end, because, those clubs break usually pretty fast. And then to spend that money, on some golf lessons. It's not to sell myself, it's to keep them playing the game of golf.
Right.
And so after you kind of get a swing developed, I love people to get fitted, and I try to warn them, that there's kind of two theories out there, I think, in fitting. One of them is to, fix a person's ball flat. And then, what I want them fitted for is, a good setup, make sure you have the right grip size, the right shaft for your swing, and, try to get, the lie as close as possible, but don't let somebody fit you. If you got a 50-yard slice, don't, let them put you in the most upright golf club to fix your slice, unless you don't, want to work on your game.
Right, exactly. And you mentioned ball flight, and that just brought to mind another question I might have for you. Let's take, for example, GolfTec. Very, very, very successful. What's your feeling about starting to learn golf in an enclosed facility like that, as opposed to somewhere outside, like you do, pertaining to ball flight and other parts of the golf swing? What's your feeling on that, Amy?
I think it really depends on how the person learns. There's very technical people out there that probably that's the best avenue for them. And then there's, people that aren't that technically inclined, and that probably doesn't work for them. So I really feel, as an instructor, I always try to figure out what works for that person. And like I say, if that person is very technical minded, like an engineer type, probably that way of learning is probably going to be good for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I personally like to go by the KISS rule, keep it simple, stupid, because that's what I'm a little bit more comfortable with. What's the breakdown of your students, Amy? Do you teach more men or women?
I would say I'm probably pretty split down the middle. I teach a lot of, about half and half, and I teach a lot of junior players. I teach a lot of older people. The reason why, I have been, fairly successful as an instructor, but I never wanted to teach just the good player or the great player. I liked having all kinds of levels to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say, I'm pretty half and half.
That's good. That's very, very good. You instruct, as I just mentioned, a lot of men and women. So do you find that you might have to alter your message, your instruction, to say some women, because of their physical limitations, the strength and size and weight, so on and so forth?
Yes, and a lot of women aren't that athletic. Not that you have to be athletic to play golf, because you don't. It helps, but you don't have to be that way. So I think, yeah, you have, like I say, you have to learn, figure out how to get that student. If they relate to sweeping or whatever it is, that you have to, get into their world so that they can learn, and hopefully learn, a lot faster.
What's the commonality of problems that most of your students come to you for, Amy? Because everybody today that takes lessons, they all want to hit the ball farther. They all want to do this now. What's the main problem people come to you for?
Well, yeah, get that. I'm not consistent. Well, that doesn't mean a whole lot to me. What does not consistent mean? I mean, are you hitting it fast? Are you hitting it left? Are you hitting it right? So I get that answer quite often. So as far as working on a mechanical thing, I think, a lot of people don't use their body properly. First of all, they don't set up so that they can use their body properly. And then, trying to get, people to, swing using their bigger muscles.
Right.
Trying to get,
Right. Gotcha. All right. Amy, stay with us. We're going to step away and we're going to take a short break here on the New Vegas Sand Trap on Facebook Live. We're going to leave you with another great Golfer's Mental Minute brought to you by Dr. Nick Molinaro. So stay with us. We're going to be back right after this.
Welcome to the Golfer's Mental Minute. We've all had the experience when we've read a paragraph, we don't remember what we've read. We've all played golf at times, not really being focused on what we're doing. If you intend on reading a paragraph and you say to yourself, I'm going to find the two most important aspects of that paragraph, I think you'd read it very differently. If you went out and you played golf with the intention to make sure that your body was in a position at impact that it needs to be, or that your arm was straight on the takeaway, or that you were following through on the putt, things would be very different. Your intention drives your attention drives your decision making drives your behavior. Intend on focusing on one very specific aspect of your swing. Have that in your mind as a feel experience. When you're over the ball, have that, and then intend on following through. I'm Dr. Nick Molinaro for the New Vegas Sand Trap.
If you play golf, chances are you've made a fairly sizable investment buying your golf clubs. So why take a chance on having your clubs damaged or even broken on the way to your next round of golf? Here's the perfect solution, known as the Golf Cradle. Using the Golf Cradle elevates the open end of your golf bag and suspends it off the floor of your truck or SUV and locks it in place. The Golf Cradle prevents the chance of damaging your club as a result of sudden stops, potholes, or swerving. Its weighted base and rigid bottom ensure the Golf Cradle stays put. Simply place your golf bag on the Golf Cradle and the protection arms automatically close down to secure your bag. Then simply tighten the straps and lock it in place. Simple as making a tap-in birdie putt. They have an awesome device like the Golf Cradle for under $40 to protect hundreds and maybe thousands of golf equipment is a no-brainer. Check them out and order at golfcradle.com. Don't wait, your clubs will love you for it. golfcradle.com. Oh, did I mention what a great gift this would be for the golfer in your life? golfcradle.com.
Did you know that over half our population suffers from allergies? There's a new, incredible way to treat allergies that don't involve shots, sprays, pills, or drops. All you do is brush your teeth. This new revolutionary treatment for allergies is only offered by Allergy Care Centers. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. You simply go to their office and speak to one of their doctors about any allergy history you may have. Then a simple finger stick is done with a few drops of blood placed on your patient card. It is then sent out to their laboratory where it's analyzed. This state-of-the-art test analyzes for 180 potential allergens. After consultation, a prescription is sent to their pharmacy where a specialized serum is mixed with toothpaste and you simply start to brush your allergies away. It's amazing. So stop suffering with your allergies. This is great for patients of all ages, especially kids. Call Allergy Centers at 702-331-5230.
All right, welcome back everybody to this part of the New Vegas Sand Trap here on Facebook Live. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, having a great conversation with our special guest, Amy Fox, who is an LPGA instructor and National LPGA Teacher of the Year. And she's out in beautiful Arlington, Texas. Amy, let me ask you this. To become an LPGA National Teacher of the Year, which is a big deal, what do you have to do to obtain that?
Well, first of all, you have to win your section Teacher of the Year, and then you're voted on by the board of directors for the LPGA, for the teaching and club profession.
Okay, I didn't know that you had to win your section.
Yeah, you have to win the section, and then those winners of, I think there's 6 sections, are are voted on by the board.
I didn't just learned something new. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Amy, as an instructor, how do you feel about playing lessons? Because I've talked to a lot of top instructors like yourself, and I've gotten 15 different kinds of answers. So how do you feel about playing lessons, number one? And number two, when would you advise or encourage any one of your students to start taking playing lessons?
Well, I love playing lessons. I'm fortunate at Tierra Verde, we have 3 practice holes. So a lot of times, in a half hour, I will go out there, we'll play the practice holes. So, and there's some players that face it, they want to play more than they want to practice. So again, you kind of have to find what works for the student. And so if it's, going out on the golf course to kind of try to figure out how to get it around, then that's what I do. But I think people should always take playing lessons because it teaches you, so much. People just, when they get out there, they never pay attention, to their lie. They just think everything's flat and they don't make adjustments. And so many times, mishits are just from that. And they think it's, all about their swing. And it's, it's because you didn't make the adjustment. You didn't make the adjustment, before you swung.
Well, in keeping with that, at what point in time during the lesson process do you tell your students, you know what, I think you're ready to go out and tackle a real live golf course with some friends? When does that happen?
Basically, I've got to be able. I believe they kind of have to be able to kind of get the ball up in the air and move it forward. I think that's one of the reasons why you see so many people drop out of golf nowadays is because they stay on the driving range forever and they don't even get to the golf course.
Yeah.
So in our clinics for the city, we've always tried to get people, out on the golf course as soon as possible. But the other side of that, it's no fun if you can't get the ball up in the air and advance it forward.
That's true. And having said that, Amy, with golf courses closing left and right, and I honestly foresee that for the next decade, with golfers dropping out of the game left and right for various reasons, the lesson market, for lack of a better term, I think is kind of shrinking and is kind of making it more difficult on people like you. Maybe you have to change your marketing, maybe you have to change your advertising, maybe you have to change whatever. Do you agree with that assessment?
I do. Back in the 90s, there wasn't enough golf courses. And by 2000, there were too many golf courses. So I think there's a lot of competition. I remember, like I say, I've been teaching for about 33 years, and probably 10 years ago, or maybe 15, I didn't have a lot of competition around here because there wasn't a lot of golf courses. But now you got so many golf courses, so many people teaching that the market's saturated basically.
Mm-hmm. Who do you fashion, or how did you develop your current swing philosophy? Who was responsible for that, do you think?
When I graduated from college, I was still trying to play, so I was looking for an instructor. And there was a name that kept coming up over and over again. His name was George Alexander. And my husband was listening to a talk radio show one day, and they had Byron Nelson on there. And somebody called in and said, if you were going to take a lesson, Mr. Nelson, who would you take one from? And he said, George Alexander. I thought, oh, okay.
That's pretty damn good high praise, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I started working with him when I got out of college, and he basically, I did a lot of clinics with him, so I'd watch him teach, and then just working on my own game. So he had a lot of influence. He taught a lot of tour pros, old time tour pros, and he was very simple, very basic fundamentals, and so I pretty much have followed his philosophy my whole life.
As you know, Amy, there's a lot of former tour players that have turned to teaching after their competitive days. Do you think that makes them any better than somebody who hasn't played competitive, as far as saying, well, I've walked the walk, I've talked the talk? Do you think that makes them any better? Because I know a number of really good instructors, in my opinion, that have never played competitively but are terrific teachers.
Well, I think the key there is the teaching. You know, there's an art to teaching, and just because you can, you know, play golf doesn't necessarily mean you can teach golf. And so, you know, there are a lot of players that, you know, past former tour players that, you know, that probably are good teachers, but, you know, there is an art to teaching it, and I think that's how you're successful.
Yeah, I agree with you. Last question before we take our next short break, Amy. What's the number one ability in your mind that a good golf instructor, good golf teacher, good golf coach has to have?
You know, my big philosophy has always been that I care about the person first. You know, I don't, that's what I'm concerned about. You know, your well-being, you know, are you happy? And so that's really been, I think if you talk to a lot of my students, they understand how much I care about them as a person. And I think that's important in teaching.
That's good. And I agree with you totally. Amy, stay with us. We're going to take another short break here on the New Vegas Sand Trap on Facebook Live, and we're going to leave you with another great swing tip by Gary Gilchrist from Swing U. So we'll be back right after this.
Today I have my student Matt Fry here to help me demonstrate the fairway bunker shot, about 90 yards. This is not an easy shot for most golfers out there, but the key for all of you is the setup. Once you set up right, you're going to feel comfortable, and it's going to allow you to swing the club more in balance, a shorter swing, and when you do a fairway bunker shot, all you want to do is try to hit as straight as possible. So Matt, welcome today. So I want you to take your address position, and you're going to see here, he sets up with his feet about shoulder width apart. Also, you're going to see that his weight is slightly left, and he has nice spine tilt to the right. His hands sit slightly forward, and the face is slightly open. Why is this important? Because when he enters the sand, the club will close slightly, and now it'll become square, and now you can hold the face through towards the target. You're going to see when he makes the shot, he's going to keep his lower body pretty still, he's going to make contact, he's going to feel grounded, and you want to swing in balance. When your weight is slightly forward, when he takes his backswing, the weight will only go to the middle of his stance. It won't go all the way to the right-hand side. So he's basically swinging around his spine angle, and his head stays still. So Matt, give me a swing there. He waggles it a little bit, and now he goes back and through. So you can see he even keeps his right heel on the ground, so the center of gravity is low, and you can see he hits the ball first, then the sand, and you're going to see that you're going to be a lot more consistent throughout the shot. So Matt, congratulations there. You know, when you're under pressure, and I'm sure you've done this before, it's never an easy shot, but if you keep your feet on the ground, you're going to hit more greens and closer to the hole. Go home and practice these drills and send us your progress so we can give you a development plan that will help your game for the rest of your life.
If you're like me and play golf, let's face it, you want to get better, right? Getting better at golf means taking lessons, and these days you have a whole lot to choose from when it comes to instruction. Or do you? It seems everyone and their brother teaches golf. That's why you need to know who and why you're investing your time and money with. If you really want to improve as a player, the choice is simple. PGA Tour instructor Mike Malaska, long recognized as one of the top instructors in the country, is helping players on every level, every day. The online learning center is offered by MalaskaGolf.com. Mike's common sense approach to learning will help you overcome the issues you face on the course every time you play. Simply put, in order to play better golf, you need to understand it. Named National PGA Teacher of the Year, Top 100 Teacher of the Year for over 20 years running, Worldwide Director of the Nicklaus Golf Academies, well, you get the picture. Mike is awesome. If you're serious about improving your game, get started now. Check out MalaskaGolf.com and see for yourself what this program will do for you and your game. MalaskaGolf.com.
What's up, everyone? I'm Ryan Rustan.
And I'm Josh Kelly, and we're on the course with Swing U, the top-rated GPS, scorecard, and game improvement app.
That's right, guys. Get distances to greens, hazards, live wind speed and elevation adjustments, even shot tracking and club recommendations. You can track your scores, stats, and handicaps for free.
Check out our massive library of lessons and drills from top 25 teachers, or get one-on-one training from your personal Swing U golf coach.
So join over 4 million golfers
And download the free Swing U app today.
All right, we are back once again, everybody, with a continuation of the New Vegas Sand Trap here on Facebook Live. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, having a wonderful conversation with our special guest, Amy Fox, who is located in the city of Arlington, Texas. Wonderful instructor down there. And Amy, let me ask you this and get your opinion. Are the American LPGA players ever going to dominate on their tour again or not? Because to be honest with you, Amy, I don't think it's going to happen, my dear.
I think you're right, unfortunately. Yeah, there's only two Americans in the top 20 on the money list this year. So, I get asked that question all the time, and I have several theories on it.
Well, let's hear one or two of them.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
The LPG, if you went out and probably polled, let's say 10 junior golfers right now, girls, I would say the majority of them, 8 out of 10, probably would say my goal is to get to college.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Asians, they skip that. They're wanting to go. They are programmed right from the beginning to get to the LPGA tour.
Right.
Professional golf.
Correct.
So it's their cult. They're also their culture. I don't care if it's being a doctor, engineer, or whatever. They're going to outwork you. So I'm not. And then the other side of that is, if you look at the PGA Tour, there's a lot of Europeans, on the PGA Tour, but for some reason, and I wouldn't say, they don't dominate because there's so many, good players out there, but, it's just kind of a different place in the world that's taken over the LPGA Tour. That's my other theory. But I just think, it's a family affair out there from, the mom and dad, and it is. I've been out to tour events before, and they're the first ones there, and they're the last ones to leave. So they definitely work very, very hard.
I could not agree with you, and I just personally think they got a little more. Everybody wants to win, but I think they may have a little more fire in the belly, and that's why I say they work at it day and night. I just want to say hello to one of our viewers, Rick Russell. Thank you for tuning in to the show, and we hope you're enjoying it with Amy Fox. Amy, as a top LPGA teacher, what do you do to help? And this is a phrase I can't stand anymore because I think it's so damn overused. But what do you do as a top teacher to help grow the game?
I've been, I guess, maybe fortunate. My whole business was built up on word of mouth. I never took out an ad. I just, worked every day, taught, when I was starting out, if I only had 3 lessons on my sheet that day, I'd spend 2 hours with a person. So the way that everything's going right now in the golf market is, discount this, discount that, and I think that's really hurt to grow the game of golf. But as far as what I try to do, I try to give as much as I can to junior players. Go watch them play in tournaments. I had a student the other day. Went out to a junior tournament, and the person couldn't believe that their instructor was out there. So I don't know the answer to that question because trust me, we talk about it all the time at the city of Arlington. How do you grow the game of golf? Obviously. I don't know if you know this, Dennis, but golf is hard.
Golf is real hard.
And so, a lot of people just don't want to put the time and effort into, to try to get better.
Yeah.
It's a very frustrating game when you stand there and you can't, get it up in the air or, it rolls along the ground. I mean, it looks real easy on TV.
I know. And I have a lot of people, Amy, ask me about learning the game. They'll email me or call me or something. And again, golfgurulv@gmail.com. And I tell them, Amy, just what you said. This is a hard game. Golf isn't for everybody, number two. It's frustrating. It's aggravating. And you've got to have the patience for it. It's a great game. It's a rewarding game, but it's very difficult. Very difficult. Quick question before we take a real short break, and we'll come back and finish up with you. On that same vein, do you think the LPGA, the PGA Tour, the PGA of America, the USGA is doing enough to really promote the game and to get players back, plus new players?
I think one of the best things that could happen, and I know the USGA's tried to do this in the past. I know there was a promotion out there, I think with Mr. Nicholas or something, is for people to play according to their ability, the tees.
Yeah.
So many times people get back, there's such a stigma, playing from the forward tees. And so I think if people could actually go out and kind of, see some success and have some fun, that you definitely keep people in the game. And I would like to see more people, play according to their ability, tee up where they should be teeing up.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. All right, Amy, stay with us. We're going to take our last break, come back. We're going to finish up with you. So stay with us with a little bit more of the New Vegas Sand Trap on Facebook Live coming at you right after these few words.
Let's face it, if you're a golfer, you have lots of choices. Choices in equipment, choices in golf balls, and choices in the golf course you play. But if you're a golfer interested in joining a private golf club, well, you really but have only one choice, and that's the Tournament Players Club in Summerlin. Why TPC Summerlin? Simple. One of the most established private clubs practicing exceptional member services in Southern Nevada. TPC Summerlin has earned the reputation of providing its members with an award-winning golf course, home to the Shriners Hospital Tour event, a tour-quality practice facility, and an award-winning golf shop. Call TPC Summerlin at 702-256-0111.
What's up, everyone? I'm Ryan Rustan.
And I'm Josh Kelly, and we're on the course with Swing U, the top-rated GPS, scorecard, and game improvement app.
That's right, guys. Get distances to greens, hazards, live wind speed and elevation adjustments, even shot tracking and club recommendations. You can track your scores, stats, and handicaps for free.
Check out our massive library of lessons and drills from top 25 teachers, or get one-on-one training from your personal Swing U golf coach.
So join over 4 million golfers
And download the free Swing U app today.
All right, I told you we wouldn't be gone long. Welcome back, everybody. We're just going to finish up with Amy Fox. Amy, just two questions left. What's your advice to your women players about getting over or not being so intimidated on the golf course or when they go out and they play with strangers? Because I know sometimes this is an issue.
It is an issue. And the first thing I tell them is to just stop, look around and see, observe. You're not the worst player out here. People do a lot of crazy things out here. So, try to get them very comfortable that, they belong there. That, like I say, if you just stop and look, you'll see a lot of crazy stuff going on in the driving range, on the golf course, and you're not the worst person out there.
Yeah, that's very true. They just got to relax. The more they do it, the more comfortable they get. Am I right? Try to go out with a friend and just have a good time.
Exactly. Golf is a game after all, and you should have fun with it, and play a game. Not, it's not do or die.
Real quickly, do you teach millennials any differently than you do the more established players, so to speak?
Depending on the individual, sometimes I have to get a little tougher with some people. Some people think I'm a little too tough sometimes, but I don't. I'm not the kind of person that's just gonna, tell you you're doing a good job if you're really not doing a good job. So I'm not gonna, I'm gonna be positive, but I'm not gonna stand there and say, oh, great, 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 when, I'll stand there and say, try it again.
Yeah,
Let's try
no,
that
I
again.
hear you. I hear you. Okay, you're coming out to Vegas hopefully after basketball season is over, and we're going to go
That's
out
right.
and
We're gonna play some golf.
Huh?
We're going to play some golf.
And we're going to play some golf. What tees are you going to play from, Amy?
Dennis, I told you, I want to be as close to that green as I can get.
I love that. Me too. Me too. No.
And I won't get beat on the tee box. I can promise you that.
Okay, that's a deal. I look forward to it, and we will stay in touch about that. Anyway, real quick, somebody comes to Arlington, can they get some help from you? And if so, how do they get a hold of you, Amy?
Absolutely. I have a website, Amy Fox Golf. And so you can log onto that, or which will give you a number to my office, or call Tierra Verde. I'm there 6 days a week, so hopefully you can catch me.
Okay, there's another golf instructor with no life, basically busy with her lesson plans. That's great. And if you go out there, trust me, ladies and gentlemen, this young lady is very, very good. That's why she's got all the accolades that she does. Amy, thank you so much for all this time. I appreciate it. And we'd love to have you back sooner than later. You're always welcome, my friend.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I enjoyed it.
My pleasure. Thanks. All right, Amy Fox, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the New Vegas Sand Trap on Facebook Live. For Amy Fox, I'm Dennis Silvers, wishing you nothing but fairways and greens. We'll see you back next time. So long, everybody.